We just realized tonight we
Haven't seen him for a while. Yeah. Always bitter.
it happens.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. Weekends are tough.
Okay, folks, it's 6:30. We'll call the August meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to order. Staff in attendance, please.
Staff in attendance, we have myself, Scott Pelchat, doing minutes, assistant planner Tyler Carmichael. Roll call, we have in attendance Councilor Eric Hoffman, Richard Body, Jane LaRoche, Chair Michael Delavecchia, and Marcia Hayward. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And we all had a chance to review the minutes of last month. Look for a motion to accept.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you.
I will second.
Thank you, Jane. All in favor? All righty. Moving right along. We have 85 Fenton Avenue. Are the Fishers here? Hi, folks. Tell us how we can help you out.
We're just looking to tear down our existing garage at our property in Laconia and then rebuild a slightly larger garage. But it's in what used to be a zero setback neighborhood. And so obviously we can't conform to the current setbacks. The property's not big enough. And so I did do a diagram. Hopefully you have a copy of that. Looking to extend it along the right property line by 4 feet and actually 8 feet, and then along the back property line by about 6 feet. So the proposed will be 28 deep by 24 wide, and currently it's 18 wide by 20 deep. So the garage was built back in 1920, back when Model Ts were probably the size, and I drive an F-350 pickup, so just want to be able to put our modern-day vehicle in the garage. And our,
So, to understand this, on the right-hand side, you're right up to the property line, you're only gonna have a 4-foot setback on the side, is what's gonna happen?
No, it's gonna be still in the same corner. It's just gonna come down the driveway, basically 4 more feet.
I think on this, on
Come
the
forward.
side.
It's gonna take up the driveway, correct?
Yeah. But you're looking for setbacks, side and rear.
Side and rear,
Well,
because it's gonna
yeah.
be wider and deeper.
We're not gonna move that,
Yeah,
but it's.
we're gonna use the original
But right
footprint.
now, it's like, whatever it is, a foot or something.
Yeah, they're not proposing to get any closer, they're just expanding within the side and the rear setback is all.
Yeah, right.
Any other questions from the board? I understand what your plan is. How high was the structure gonna be?
Not sure exactly, probably, I wanna say about 18 feet maybe. It'll have a second floor, but it's gonna be, like a hip roof. It's gonna match the house, like a bungalow style, so, it'll have dormers and probably, I'm gonna say roughly 18 feet to the peak.
And how high is the building right now, do you know?
I'd say about, what, 10 feet, 12 feet maybe, something like that? Yeah, so actually, it may be closer to 20, now that we didn't really have a plan done yet, we were just, kinda seeing if we could do it, so.
I'm a little concerned with the height that you have proposed, that I didn't see anything posted, what the height was
Oh,
gonna
they
be.
didn't request when we went in to go over it with them. They weren't requesting the height at that time.
Yeah, so as long as they're not exceeding 35 feet, they're fine. Within the RG district, they're permitted to build up to 35 feet, which is roughly 2 stories. The only deviation they're asking for is expanding within their setbacks, which, as they mentioned, the house was built in 1920, which is before zoning even existed in this state.
Any other questions, anybody? I'll ask you to have a seat, folks, and I'll open the public hearing. If there's anybody who would like to come up and speak about this proposal, please come up now. concerned with how high the building's gonna be because it is on the
Are
property
you closing
line.
the public forum? Close the public.
Thank you, Richard. We'll close the public hearing since there's nobody would like to talk. How do we all feel?
Yep, but the height has nothing to do, that's completely outside of our purview.
It is because it's inside the setbacks, so it is an issue.
So they have a garage if they, so the use is staying the same. And, by the way, it's in a neighborhood the entire neighborhood is pre-existing non-conforming. You know, almost probably half of the homes on the street have a structure, either a shed or a garage that is right exactly on the property line. So it certainly is fitting within there. And I don't know, 18 feet is not high comparatively, in my opinion. I'm fine with this.
I don't have an issue.
I
Same
don't
here.
either.
Let's seek a motion.
I make a motion to approve ZB 2026-001 for 85 Fenton Ave for a variance from setback regulations. How do we say it if it's in? I read through everything they have and what they have said.
As they propose.
And
The findings of fact is
findings of
how
fact
they
as
propose.
they have stated it in their application.
Very good. We have a motion.
I will second.
Thank you, Jane. Any further discussion? All in favor? I will abstain. Motion passes. Good luck. Thank you. The Fishers. Next up, we have 55 Shore Drive. They want to put a deck in the back. Hello.
Hello. I'm standing here for Al Russo, who couldn't make it this evening. Yes, he's looking to put a deck over an existing patio. The fence line that runs alongside the right side, the current garage has been there for, I don't know what the year the home was built, is 7 feet off the fence. And currently, the patio is only 3 feet off the fence at its furthest point, which is going to be 6 feet off the furthest point, or that point, when or if constructed. It's gonna be basically that same footprint, other than a little tighter on the side where the fence is. I should say, more room for the fence, I guess you could say. Other than that, I don't know what else to tell you. I think you have the pictures there. He provided some pictures for you, get an idea what it looks like currently, which is kind of a mishmash of block, but
Where's this deck going?
It's going to go-
We have lots of pictures of the patio out there.
right. So it's going to go right over. Going to go right over that whole patio. Yes, it's going to cover that existing patio.
Yeah, I spoke with Mr. Russo, and he said the pavers have a bit of undulation. And
To say the least.
it would be easier just to put a deck over it than tear the patio up and redo it, so. Okay, and your name, sir?
John Petrochenko.
We did get a
Let me
letter.
spell it. I think it's in the paperwork.
Okay, John, have a seat,
Okay.
and I'll open up a public hearing, see if anybody
Thank you.
wants to speak about this proposal. We're not getting many takers tonight. At that, we will have to close the public hearing and discussion amongst the board.
No, I went out back and looked at it, and
Oh, you saw the undulation.
yes, I did. It's similar to mine, but he's just building a deck over an existing permeable, and it's gonna be the same size. He's not going outside of that.
Very good. Enough being said, I'll seek a proposal on this matter. Motion on the matter.
Second,
I make a motion to grant application ZB 2026-002 to have a variance from Article 6, Section 235-35B, which would allow for setbacks so that they can build a deck over an existing patio. Number one, findings of fact are building a deck over an existing patio is not going to affect the character of the neighborhood, doesn't change the character of the neighborhood in any fashion, doesn't interfere with safety or welfare of the neighborhood. And because it does not affect the character of the neighborhood, it is in the spirit of the ordinance, so it meets criteria 2. Number 3, substantial justice is done because it allows the owner to use his property accordingly. Number 4, will not increase or decrease the property values. There's no evidence either way. And number 5, it is a reasonable request to use his land in that particular fashion.
Thank you, Marcia. We
You're
have a
welcome.
motion.
I'll second, or,
Eric will second that motion. Any further discussion? No problems here. All in favor? Motion passes. Good luck on that project, John.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving right along. We have 3 through 7 Riverside Avenue. How do you do, sir?
Good evening, how are you? Mark Conto-Demitraki, land surveyor. I'm gonna be representing the property owners, Laconia Properties LLC. And we are requesting multiple variances. The purpose is the property owners would like to subdivide an existing property. And in order to subdivide and meet the planning board criteria, we need several variances to do this. Brief history of the property. The property on Riverside Court is currently a mixed-use property. It has one multifamily building, which is 4 units, and one single-family building. They were both built prior to right around 1900, so they're of the same vintage as most of the properties in the area. The property has been described as one single lot for the foreseeable past, going back to at least around and approximately 1900. The variances that we're asking for are going to be setbacks from the new property line that would be created only. So essentially, the 2 structures are compliant with the building setbacks, except for the new line that we would like to draw. Also, because the current multifamily structure does not meet the minimum 1,000 square feet of floor space per unit, we're asking for a variance of that because it's an existing 4-unit structure and it only has about 3,400 square feet of floor space. We're also asking for the reduction of the minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet for a new lot. And I believe that the setbacks we're asking for is for parking as well. I believe that because we're asking for a new subdivision, it means that the parking must meet the setback. There's already existing parking on the property, and we are not asking for a variance or a reduction in parking. There are currently, for the multifamily, 8 spaces that would serve the multifamily, and then 2 spaces that would serve the single family. So we would be asking for a reduction of the setbacks for where the existing parking is located. I believe that covers all of the variances that we're asking for. I do want to stress that there's going to be no change of use. There is not going to be any new construction. There's not going to be any new addition. Essentially, we're asking for the subdivision because really this is going to make the property more compliant with the current zoning. Instead of a mixed-use property, you're going to have a single-family use property and you'll have a multifamily use property, which really more conforms with the zoning and more conforms with the makeup of the neighborhood. The neighborhood is primarily along Howard Street, a mix of single-family and smaller multifamilies, duplexes, etc. And then along Church Street, it is more multifamilies, more 4-unit. Some properties are 5-unit, etc. So, if we go through the facts in support of granting the variance, obviously the property, the proposed use is going to fit in with the surrounding uses, because again, it's the same makeup of the neighborhood, and there is going to be no change in the makeup of the structures. This would allow the single-family home use separate from the multifamily home, and it would make both properties more conforming to the ordinance. Both properties are currently addressed separately. They currently have separate water service. They currently have separate sewer service. They currently have separate utilities. Effectively, they are already two separate properties. The city addresses them separately. If variance is not granted, obviously it's going to deny the possibility of home ownership. You know, we feel that this is something that most people in the city want to achieve. It definitely is an incentive. It's an incentive for people to want to be able to have that kind of civic pride, to own a home of their own, and based on the way this property is situated currently, you know, this prevents that from occurring. It's not going to affect the neighborhood really in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to reduce any property values, and really, if you look at it from a city and a tax assessment perspective, it's going to be better for the city because now you're going to have two separate properties that are going to be assessed at full value each, which, you know, I hate to say this out loud for my client, but it's going to obviously create more tax revenue for the city.
Very good, Mark. Variance for parking, why are you asking for that?
So for multifamily structures, we do have an ordinance that dictates that parking areas need to be outside of the setbacks. That varies depending on which zone you're in, but I believe because they are in the UC, it's a 10-foot setback, and so the parking already existing is within that setback.
I see, okay. Any questions for Mark? I can't remember your last name, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mark is fine.
That was a
Mr.
tough-
Comademitraki.
Yes.
This property currently is owned by Laconia Properties LCC.
LLC, yes, correct.
Okay. And how are they using it? Are they renting out the single-family home and the multifamily home?
Yes.
So, but they want to divvy up number 7 from number 3 and get number 7 to be its own entity
Correct.
so that they can sell it?
Ultimately, yes, that would be the goal.
Okay.
So Mark, I also have a question, and this may be just me, Scott. I don't have a drawing of the proposed.
I did
I have like a quarter of it here.
I did bring the drawing if you'd like to
If you
take a
wouldn't
look.
mind, I'd like to take a look at that.
Usually, it's hit or miss. Sometimes there's an easel, sometimes there isn't.
No, it's, nobody else cares. So Mark, the question that I have is this right here. What is gonna happen with this driveway that's in between? Who's gonna assume ownership of that?
So this driveway will maintain with the
Okay.
multifamily, and
Okay.
it will allow for the additional
Do
parking.
you know what this
for
dimension is
vans.
right here between the two buildings?
You know, I
Just,
should know
just,
that
just make
right
a
off the
good,
top of my
make a
head.
good guess, because I'm looking at it on,
I believe it's about 9
okay.
feet. Or
So
10 no, I'm sorry, it's more than that. It's about 11 feet.
Tyler, what is in this zone, what is the minimum width for a parking space?
Let me pull that up here.
And
9 by 19.
I believe it is 9 by 9.
so is that with making the assumption that you had two
Correct.
hard planes on either side, 9 feet is the minimum?
Yeah,
Right,
so
okay.
9 feet, yep. 9 by
So
9.
your intention is that distance there would
Correct.
make the
Yes,
minimum?
this is the existing,
Yep.
so this is the
Yep,
existing
I get you.
pavement
Yep, I
right
get you.
here.
Yep, I get
So
it.
there's a 9 by 19.
Again, all that I
envelope
had
right
on,
Where's the division, Mark, between
This
the two?
line
it would be
right
this,
here.
The
this,
dark line.
this
This
dark
line
line.
right here will be the division.
Okay.
basically. Yep.
Okay.
So
Right.
we do have a spot there.
Well, and they also have parking all the way out for this 4 units here?
Yep,
For this
correct.
4 unit, they are parking right along their drive-in, all
Mhm.
along Church Street.
Yep, so
Yep.
they'll be parking
Yep.
along Church Street,
sorry,
and
I'm
they'll
good.
be parking
Yep.
along York Street.
Vehicle parking.
Anything else from Mark right now? No? Okay, Mark, if you'll have a seat, please, and I'll open the meeting to the public. See if someone would like to speak for this or against this proposal. Thank you, Scott, for getting the times. Nobody wants to speak.
Want to close it then?
We'll close the public meeting. Thank you for reminding me.
So, for me, they clearly are two separate houses, two different
Separate
styles.
stores.
Well, just
electric
not even
stores.
just that. I mean, you look at them; they're not joined together. I'm kind of curious why. I mean, go back in the history of it. Why is it on one? But they're two different buildings, two different styles, two different colors, two different everything. No brainer there. I'm not. I think the thing that is my only hesitation is it's right on Church Street. I mean, there are a lot of nice. Yeah, I can't even say that.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of nice homes in the area.
I'm generally in favor of this. I mean, it is every home kind of on this end, on the what is it, court? What is it? Riverside Court.
Riverside.
They're all pre-existing non-conforming.
Yeah.
Oh, quick, Tyler, question for you. So this is a private road. Does that change any of the density or the parking metrics?
No.
What was your concern about Church Street, Richard? I don't.
Well, it's just you cross the bridge and we have all these historic buildings and everything. And that was my one thing, that we're taking two really small homes.
Yeah.
But they're all multi-unit apartments. That entire corner is all multi-units.
Right.
So,
And it's very congested.
yeah, so that's all. But it's clearly they're two different buildings. They're two different homes. So, yeah, I'm satisfied with that. I'm generally in favor.
I don't have a problem.
I was wondering if there's a way to add green space
Flower pots?
on the right-hand side.
Did you see the size of that rock?
Suspended from the second floor windows.
I don't think so.
Well, the parking is too close to the border.
Yeah, but the parking fits, the parking, boy, I almost said
It's
something
already
different.
existing.
Well, it's
Right.
already existing and it fits the dimensions minimally, but it does fit them.
Jane, any thoughts?
I think Mark has something else you'd like to add.
I
Well-
was just gonna say that the property as is exceeds the minimum requirement for green space.
Correct.
Currently.
There's space all in the back, the
Yep.
two sides.
And again, that's not gonna change. There's gonna be no expansion of any impervious area
Yeah.
or,
Very good. Alrighty.
We have to do 3 separate,
No, I think it's all part of one application, so that
okay.
I'll make a motion to grant the application for ZB 2026-003, which is seeking a variance from Article 6, Section 235-32, Article 6, Section 235-33, Article 6, 235-35. And with regards to all 3 of those requests, number 1, finding of fact, are actually, it's not altering the character of the neighborhood at all. The buildings are going to stay as is, the parking is staying as is. All we're doing is actually creating a boundary or a separate lot for those 2 buildings. So where you're not altering the character of the neighborhood, condition number 1 is met. Then number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is met. Number 3, substantial justice would be done for the owner because it will allow the property to be used as a single-family home and a multifamily unit and provide housing. Values of the property, hopefully, that would increase the values, but I do not know. And number 5, it is a reasonable request, given the nonconformity of the lot, to bring the lots into more conformity with the current ordinance. So I think it's a very reasonable request.
Thank you, Marcia. We have a motion.
I'll second.
Eric, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
thank you very much.
Very good, Mark. Thank you for your presentation. Okay. Moving right along, we have 86 Chapin Terrace, seeking a special exception to allow short-term lodging. Hi, folks.
Hi, I am William Vessels.
I'm Andrea Vessels. So I did prepare something, and I don't mean to take much of your time. I just want to make sure that I covered all points. So good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present our request for a special exception for short-term lodging at 86 Chapin Terrace. We have carefully reviewed the ordinance, and we believe our property and the way it will operate meets and exceeds all 5 required criteria. I think it's important to mention that before we purchased this home, we acted in complete good faith to confirm its eligibility for short-term rental use. Both we personally and our realtor contacted the Laconia Zoning Board. We were told that there were no restrictions on short-term lodging at this property. We relied on this information when deciding to purchase and have since invested significantly in renovations and furnishings to create a well-maintained, attractive home that benefits both our guests and the neighborhood. Importantly, we also bring over 10 years of property management experience, which has given us the knowledge and systems and resources to operate rentals responsibly and professionally. This background ensures that our home will be managed with the highest standards of care, safety, and accountability. Our long-term plan is for this home to be our permanent home, but until then, we intend to use it for short-term rentals while enjoying it ourselves for personal use. First, the use that we're requesting is specifically authorized in the Laconia zoning ordinance under Article 23570C2. Our application has been structured to align directly with the provisions for short-term lodging in the RS district. Second, this use will not create any additional demand on municipal services. The home is fully serviced with water, sewer, and weekly trash pickup. Trash is stored neatly in the garage, placed curbside, morning of collection, and then returned promptly afterwards. Guests will follow clear rules on responsible energy and water use, and no public assistance is required for their stay. Third, we meet all special provisions for short-term lodging. The property will be registered with the city, maintained in safe condition, and fully insured. We provide on-site parking for a maximum of 4 vehicles. We have adequate off-street parking. Our parking spaces measure 19 by 60 feet in front of our garage. Guests will also have the opportunity to use our garage space as it is completely empty. We have additional parking in front of our shed, which is a 19 by 30 foot space as well. And that is paved. We have a strict no street parking policy, which we will enforce. We have safety measures that include smoke, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, exterior lighting, and drawing from a decade of property management, we have well-established protocols for safety, maintenance, and guest accountability, all which will carry over to this home. Fourth, this use will not pose a threat to public health, safety, or welfare. Our clearly written house rules prohibit unsafe behavior, including loud parties and events, and we will enforce quiet hours from 10 p.m. till 8 a.m. Occupancy is capped at 10 overnight guests, including children, to prevent overcrowding and ensure systems and neighborhood peace remain unaffected. To further discourage disruptive turnover, we will require 3 to 6 night minimum stay during peak summer hours. Our property management experience has taught us how to screen guests, set appropriate rules, and enforce them consistently to prevent issues before they arise. We also use outdoor security cameras and a monitored system to reinforce guest compliance and protect both the property and neighbors. In addition, we can be on site within an hour should any problems arise. We recognize the potential concerns of neighbors and have proactively addressed them. A short-term rental poses no greater risk to new homeowners or long-term tenants. Unlike traditional rentals, we actively monitor and enforce rules and security measures. Vehicle limits and occupancy caps keep traffic minimal with no impact on the neighborhood flow. Garage storage, prompt pickup, strict rules ensure the property is always presents well. The home will be professionally cared for year-round with snow removal in the winter, lawn care in the summer, and thorough cleanings before each guest stay. Our experience in property management gives us the systems and foresight to maintain this consistency. Finally, we're reachable 24/7 to any neighbors, and we can respond personally within an hour if needed, something that we have successfully done for years. Granting this exception also provides meaningful community benefits. Our guests actively support the local economy by dining in restaurants, shopping in local stores, visiting attractions such as Gunstock, Meadowbrook, the surrounding lakes, downtown Laconia. Their spending contributes directly to tax revenue, which benefits the city. Beyond the economic impacts, we are long-term residents of New Hampshire. My husband he was born and raised in New Hampshire. I've lived here for over 25 years. We truly believe in giving back to the community. We have a business for 30 years, family business that we've supported veterans and organized Toys for Tots. If approved, we plan to extend this commitment to Laconia by offering an annual complimentary stay for a local veteran and their family. We are deeply invested in improving and maintaining this property. As I said, this is our retirement home and we'd like to be here long-term. We're committed to operating it in a way that preserves the neighborhood's character while contributing positively to Laconia as a whole. Combined with our professional background in property management, we're confident this home will continue to be cared for and operated at a level that reflects well on this community. For these reasons, we respectfully request your approval of our application.
Well said, Mrs. Vessel. A great presentation.
Thank you.
Let's start with questions from the board.
So, make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You want to have a short-term rental that is not owner occupied. That's the crux here, right?
Currently, yes, that's
Is
correct.
because,
We've only owned the property for about a month, so we couldn't have been in the property for the past 150 days. And in the short term, we probably won't. That's our long-term goal.
okay,
Or-
that's what I was gonna say. Is there any reason why you can't have it be an owner occupied, but that isn't your plan, is what you're saying?
It's our plan down the road. Right now, we have, if we're getting personal, we have at our current house, we have a 91-year-old father-in-law who's under our care. He has an in-law apartment in our home, so that's one reason. We have kids who are registered in school for now. We have contemplated possibly changing their school down the road. We just are not prepared to make a decision like that so quickly. So, but it is definitely a possibility, and obviously things change.
We also have his business in the
Oh.
town that we live in,
Yeah,
which we
which I
would
do
make it very difficult
have a plan.
commuting back and forth.
plan to semi-retire in the near term. Well, from that business, I should say.
Very good. Anybody else? Eric, Richard? Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Vessel, I'll ask you to have a seat and I'll open up.
I'm sorry, then I just have one more. Will I get a chance to readdress after we hear the
Yes, you
abutters?
can.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll ask if there's any neighbors or any residents that would like to speak on this matter. Please come up now. One at a time, of course. Hi, folks.
Hi,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm Joseph Charland, and this is my wife Janie Charland.
And we live diagonally to the property.
We live at 91 Chapin Terrace, which is across the street from it. And again, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to offer our opinions about what's about to happen with this piece of property. Just to give you a little history, this is the third property I've had to appear before this board about, because we obviously feel that the lake is being overtaken by these bed and breakfasts.
Airbnbs.
Airbnbs. And we're really concerned, number one, about the environment, number two, about the noise in the neighborhoods and other abuses that are occurring. in past experiences with two of the bed and breakfasts that we had in our neighborhood. It was it was a disaster, basically.
Parking became taken over on the street. We've had up to, well, I think at last count it was 12, 13 cars parked between, on the driveway into the street.
Can I give you some history about the street? First of all, I want to make sure that you all understand what this street is about.
Certainly.
It's a dead-end street, about 1,200 feet long. There is a old dirt range road which goes up from the end of the street that some people do use, like FedEx and UPS and Amazon.com. What happened is that the property next to this property that we're talking about right now was taken over by, in my opinion, a commercial activity that was occurring in the city on this street. I won't name the people at this particular location, but she said 20, 25 cars. I've seen some certain times that it were close to 50 cars parked on both sides of the street, all the way up and down the street from activities that were being held by this group. I got a feeling that you might know who I'm talking about. And they turn into parties, late night fireworks, being awoken at night by music being playing, so we couldn't sleep. At the time, I was a working man. I'm now retired. I'm not saying this might occur here, but that's just one example of what's happening on this street. And we're really concerned about, we can see right now what's happening with our lakes here in the Lakes region, Winnipesaukee. All we have to do is pick up a newspaper and see what's happening with the bacteria in the water and the activity, what's going on. Our shore is being eroded by these boats that are pulling skiers that create large waves, wave maker boats, and it's eating away at our shores. So I think we have to be concerned about that too. I've made a few notes myself, and as my wife said, Jane said, that the parking has been a nightmare sometimes in that street because people are there's no one side of the street that you can park on. There's cars parking on both sides of the street, and what it's creating is that fire trucks and ambulances can't even go through the cars parked on both sides. You can't fit a fire truck or an ambulance through there on occasions.
It's impossible.
And the previous owner of this property had a wife who had to have an ambulance come and get her quite often. In certain cases, the ambulance couldn't even get through to get to their property. The present owner just stated something about the no effects to the city. About a year ago, I received a letter from the city Public Works that stated that would we please watch our sewage, because our sewer lines are getting backed up by the number of people from the condos which are near there. I think that's what Peachy Shores condos, which are near there. When summer hits us, all those condos fill up, and the population increases even on our street, because we have 3 or 4, I think.
There's 3 seasonal properties on our street right now, and the rest are all single-family dwellings occupied year-round.
So the sewage increases, and we even had one house at the end of our street where sewage filled up the house because the sewer lines were being overtaxed. So there is an effect on what's going on. I couldn't even flush my toilet this morning. I had to flush it about 4 or 5 times because our sewage system is being overtaxed. I don't know if this is happening with other people on the street, but I know it's happening with me. It's not a very pleasant situation. Okay, we know that bread and breakfasts lead to a lot of situations. You can see it in our neighboring towns in Meredith. What happens is somebody rents the place, and more than one person really ends up showing up for that place. They share the cost of the rental, and it brings in large groups, sometimes maybe even college guys, looking for a place to have a party with their friends. And the neighborhood fills up with all these cars. So the property is being currently advertised online, which we found out, by the present owners.
It's online now at Airbnb. So this hasn't even been approved, but it's already being rented out.
And it has been rented out already.
So the property has 5 bedrooms. It's advertised as 5 bedrooms. So, and it's advertised at $3,600 a week. So at $3,600 a week, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking one couple is not gonna rent that property. So now we're gonna have, what, 2, maybe 3 couples with children in there, gonna have a bunk room, all the kids get together. So how many people are we actually having in the property?
They say on
It's
the
not gonna be
advertisement-
a husband, wife, and 2 kids.
They say on the advertisement it's only limited to 8 people, but I can rest you assured that I've seen it happen too many times in Lakeport and on Lake Opeechee.
Sure,
It's being overtaken by bed and breakfasts.
The people that call in and register will probably be a couple with 2 kids. But then they've invited their brother, sister, whoever, and the kids to come up for the
And
week.
their friends.
Yeah.
And it
I mean,
ends
that
up
happens
being a big
all the
party.
time.
In regards to, I wanted to have you give me an opinion on what a single-family residence is.
It's a house.
Tyler's looking up the definition.
Give me 1 second here. Single-family residence, 1 second here, I gotta go through, we have a lot of definitions.
Sure.
But while you're looking it up, I mean, this is where we live. We live here year-round. This is our family street. We know everybody on the street. And, it's the kind of street somebody rides down, and everybody knows their car, because it's a dead-end street. So you're going back and forth and up and down that street all the time.
So in our zoning ordinance, single-family, the use, as we would describe it, which is the primary use for the lot, is a dwelling unit located on a single lot of record exclusively used for a single family maintaining a household. That's single-family. With that said, this is not a primary use that they're proposing. It is an accessory use, which is permitted through special exception. So
Providing it is owner occupied.
they would be able to do it by right if it was owner-occupied. If it's not owner-occupied, they have to come in and get a special
That's
exception.
what I'm saying, yeah.
Correct.
I can already say that it's been rented and it wasn't owner-occupied where it was being rented already.
So, and the applicants already had mentioned that. What happened is they had called in prior to purchasing the property, and they'd asked what it was zoned for. And when you pull up the tax card, it actually says SFR, which we have a zoning district called Shorefront Residential, which is the dark yellow up there on the Lake Winnipesaukee. They're currently located in, I believe it's the RS or RG.
RS.
It's in the RS. And so when you look on the tax card, you do not see RS on there. What you see is SFR. And so when they called into our office, our staff said, oh, it's in the Shorefront Residential, and short-term lodging is permitted by right in the Shorefront Residential, which is correct. It is up there in the dark yellow. However, upon further investigation, When it got kicked up to us, we looked at it, we said, whoa, this is not in shorefront residential, this is in RS here in Lakeport. So in order to use it for short-term lodging, you have to come before the zoning board and get a special exception if it is not owner-occupied for 150 days. Which they haven't had it for 150 days, so it can't meet that definition yet.
And wouldn't you say that residential single areas are more highly taxed, not being shorefront? More highly taxed than maybe?
I don't want to say anything to that because I'm not an assessor, so
Okay.
I'm strictly in land use.
But what we're concerned about is that this is gonna affect the value of our houses.
Certainly.
If you continue to let these people from bed and breakfasts lease out to anybody off the street that happens to have a computer, lets those people into their houses, it's gonna devalue our houses. And I would be the first to go to the assessor and tell him I want a reevaluation on my house and I want to be taxed lower because we've got a home across the street that's creating a lot of problems on our street.
I'm not sure what factors go into assessing and their calculations. I will say that short-term lodging by our definition is under 15 days. To be considered long-term, it would be 15 days or more. So I don't know if that factors in at all. I can't tell you that. But, you know, it is permitted if they meet the criteria in the special exception, which they've laid out, and you're rebutting that. So that's
Okay.
going to be for the board to decide, though, whether or not it's going to be a permitted accessory use.
Well, I seriously think it's gonna affect the value of our homes, of all the people that have been there for years. I've been on Lake Apiche for 50 years.
Yeah.
And I can see it coming.
Thank you, Joe, for your statements.
Thank you.
Okay? Did you wanna see that ad, by the way, that they,
Perhaps we'll look into that.
okay.
Is there anybody else who'd like to come up? Please state your name for the record, sir.
Good evening. My name's Tim Gilligan. I live at 94 Chapin Terrace, along with my wife. We're next door neighbors to the Vessels. We just recently met the couple. They're a wonderful couple. Two beautiful children, and you know, we wish them nothing but the best. But right now, it really doesn't fit with my wife and our situation. We're a retired couple. I have had health issues over the years. I can see, because I'm very familiar, I own several properties, and I have owned several properties for quite a few years. And while the Vessels may try to vet the property and the people as the best that they can, when alcohol gets involved and people are on vacation, things happen. And I've had some of my own people in my own buildings, my own friends. When they get drinking and they get out of control, things happen. Okay? So that's a big problem for me at my age. I have a few questions that I would like to ask the board. If this is approved, what happens if issues arise? That's the first. I'm gonna go with a series of, you could probably kind of clump them together in a sense, okay? What I don't want is, I don't want to be calling the cops. I don't want to be policing it. And I know that Bill, Keith, I think, like my wife is Alexandra, she goes by Lisa. So it's probably the same situation, no disrespect meant. And I know he did talk to me, we had a conversation this evening, and I expressed to him that I was gonna be coming in and I would be opposing it. And again, I told him, I said, I hope that nothing would come between us as, you know, as new neighbors and all of that if it isn't approved. You know, but my issues are, I don't need to be calling the cops. I don't need to be getting in confrontations. If it's approved, what, can it be revoked? You know, I went online today, looked at a few things. You know, if we have ongoing issues, I know it's good for 2 years. And if it's, and if it goes to 2 years, is it an automatic renewal for him or for them? Do they have to come in front of the board again? Are we gonna be notified again? You know, these are concerns of mine. I don't know if it's just a regular fee just to re-up. I mean, I don't want to be a constant complainer. I don't want to have to be calling them. They did give me their card and say, you know, you can give us a call or whatever, but I don't want to have to be getting into that stuff at this age. And I've got coronary artery disease and I got some other health issues as well. And I just really don't need it. We bought this place 10 years ago. We retired. I retired 4 years ago. My wife retired. She was a school teacher. She retired 5 years ago. And we've been living up there full time. And it's very peaceful and it's very nice. And I just can see, no matter how well they vet the incoming people, you know, as I think the previous speaker said, there could be people that will come in and they'll say it's just the four of us, but then, you know, Uncle Bobby come on over and Cousin Joe, and next thing you know, bring the kids in. And I can just see it as a constant turnover. It's a residential neighborhood, and part of the reason, the major part of the reason we're living there is because it's so relaxed and such a great environment. Again, this is really nothing personal. I just feel as though it is a residential neighborhood on top of it all, and to have people coming and going, I've seen it too many times. I've dealt with it. I've owned real estate. I've owned, since 1982, I have owned multifamily homes. And I've had short-term tenants, and again, I've had people that were close to me even, that I would never in a million years expect to do the wrong thing, and they've done it many times, in spite of it all. And I really do believe that they would make the best effort that they could to make sure that they did the right thing. I really believe that. But I don't believe that it's in their control, totally. And that's a real concern of mine. I thank you for your time.
Very good, Tim. Thank you.
Could you answer those questions for me, though?
Tyler
in terms
is
of
the expert on that. Let's-
So, when it comes to issues, it depends on what the issues are. If it's noise, if there are people parking on the street, that's gonna be a police action. The planning department has no authority over enforcing noise or cars on the street. You know, if they're misusing the property in any way, like, I don't know, if they, just throwing it out here, but if they like put storage boxes on their property, well then, okay, then the planning department's gonna look at that and say, yes, that's an approved use, that's not an approved use, and if it's not, we can take enforcement action. If they are violating the zoning ordinance at all when it comes to short-term lodging, at that point, we can take enforcement action, and we do. In fact, there's a property right now that's currently undergoing the process of revocation within the city. And so we are taking enforcement action on those properties that we get complaints from. The problem is we have to have those complaints documented. So if there is an issue, you need to let us know in writing saying, hey, there's an issue, can you do something about this? At which point we'll take enforcement action on the property owners. When it comes to renewing every 2 years, once a special exception is granted, it goes with the property. There's no revoking a special exception once it's granted. If the use is not used for 2 years consecutively, at that point, the use goes away, and it is basically the primary use of just well, I should say the special exception is null and void at that point if they don't keep using it as short-term lodging after 2 years. And then as far as abutter notifications, I do believe we have in the ordinance now that every time a permit is issued, abutters are notified. So you would get notified when the permit is reissued, but there would not be another hearing like this. Unless they abandoned the use for 2 years, then they'd have to come back again. So there's a little bit of a process there.
Okay. My concern is just, you know, if there's a couple of people acting up and then nobody acts up for 3 months and then we have another real problem.
Sure.
You know, 6 months from now, and then people are good for 6 months and then it happens again. You know, it's unsettling for all of us, to be honest with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tim. Are there any other members who would like to speak? With that, I will close the public hearing. And William and Andrew, you'd like to come back up and address those issues? My first question, William, is Joe said that you're advertising it for 8 people, but you said you would have a maximum of 10 people. What's that issue?
We've been going back and forth as to if we were gonna cut it off at 8 or 10. We initially started it at 8. For this purpose, we weren't sure if 10 was gonna be the cutoff. I'm potentially open to either one. I think the bottom line, what we were trying to say is we want to set a cap. We wanna set a cap on cars. We wanna set a cap on occupants. We're not looking to have this be a party house. We're not marketing it as a party house. When people were to go and look at the details, it says right up front, like house rules, no fireworks, no outside music, no parties. I don't think we're gonna attract the people that are gonna be disruptive. There's no guarantees. I'm not trying to attempt to say that I'm gonna be in this house with these people 24 hours a day. But I think that we're doing our best to set rules, to market. This is also, it was brought up that it's on the expensive side. I don't think that this is a budget vacation. And where we set the caps, we did that on purpose. We're looking for higher end people who are looking for what we enjoy about the property, where it's quiet and it's serene and it's nice. So I do understand the abutters' concerns, and I am concerned. I want to make sure that they don't feel like we're profiteers, because honestly, we're not. We are by no means going to turn a profit off this. This is more for our own personal use, and hopefully be in it in the long run. If anyone has any issues going forward, we're more than willing to work with people. We're even willing to consider making changes to our rules or changes to our screening. We are trying to screen people. And a lot of the concerns I heard, I don't want to invalidate them, but those types of concerns go around with being a part of a neighborhood. We purchased this property, and we, as owners now, we could be difficult neighbors just with all the things that they're concerned about, but we're not. We're concerned neighbors, and we're going to try to rent to other concerned people, and we're going to try to have oversight over them. I think that's a better situation than having someone move in next door that just doesn't care. And that person who doesn't care, even the way the zoning is now, they could legally rent to someone for 15 days, and they could have a renter who doesn't care, renting from an owner who doesn't care, and we do care. So I just want to make sure that we get that point across. Parking will not be an issue. I drive up the street, there are always cars parked on the street. It's not us, it's residents. It's not short-term renters, and I'm not trying to point the finger at anyone. We're going to try to do the best we can. We have 4 parking spots where you can park, be totally off-street, and not even block in one of the other cars. So I think it's reasonable that we can have all of these cars, a reasonable amount off-street. As far as the noise, we've addressed it in a number of ways. There was a sewage concern. I don't know how that would be different than just having regular residents. I'm sorry that's happening, but I don't think a resident versus a short-term rental would have any large impact on that. So I think for the most part, I think our application is pretty complete and thorough. I think we meet the criteria for the special exception. And yeah, I think I'd like to close on just a request for a special exception, unless if anyone has any other questions.
I just wanted, one of the criteria for number 5 is the property has to have been in this use for a period of not less than 5. It doesn't meet that one at all, right? Does not meet A.
Correct.
2 parts.
So you're looking at B.
Correct.
The applicant can offer convincing evidence that granting it is a benefit to the community above the financial gain of the applicant. Okay.
Well, even with a weekly rental, I mean, simply put, we're not even meeting our mortgage. So we actually don't make any money off of this. This is,
and it's not even close.
This is going to help supplement our mortgage payment.
Oh, and as far as the only thing that I did skip over, I really don't see any way that it would actually hurt values. As we can all see, values have continued to go up and up on a year-over-year basis. We're going to have a well-maintained, well-landscaped, properly taken care of property that, if anything, just having a well-taken-care-of property should increase the value in the neighborhood. Not to mention the fact that there is potential for a little bit of, like cash flow, basically, in certain circumstances like this. I don't know how that would help. I think the fact that that's a possibility could only help.
I also wanted to add too, I know that there was some concern about emergency vehicles in the past, you know, being able to get by and access a particular neighbor who lived in our house. You know, that dirt road that is there specifically says it's for emergency vehicles only. It does make a complete loop, so it can be accessed in either direction. You know, it's not a paved road, but it specifically does say emergency vehicles. You know, from what we gather and from, you know, what we have seen, we've only parked in the driveway because there's ample parking space. But really, it's not even our abutting lakeside neighbors that are actually causing kind of the backup of parking in our neighborhood. It is, you know, the abutting diagonal on one side. There's consistently 2 trucks that are parked in the street. And, you know, I'm not trying to make any problems. With the amount of parking that we have off street, there's no reason to even park on street, and that would be clearly listed in our rules.
We just hope in the end that really no one notices this is happening, to be honest. People can enjoy their own homes, not even notice that this is going on, and I really don't see a whole lot of reason there would be, and I hope there isn't. I don't believe there will be. I think we have the oversight, and I think we can take care of problems if they arise, but we've been personally long-time short-term renters ourselves.
And we usually pick Airbnbs because we have young kids and it's more convenient
we
than
actually
staying in a
appreciate it.
hotel room.
Yeah.
We like the space, we like the privacy, we like quiet neighborhoods to stay in.
Right. So,
We're not particular party animals or anything like that. But you know, anybody could have moved into that house. Disrespectful neighbors could have moved in and been using that space, you know, not maintaining quiet hours right now. And that's not us.
Okay, folks. Thank you for your
Okay, thank you.
rebuttal
thank you.
to the concerns. I think I already closed the public hearing, didn't I?
You did.
I know how I hope you all know how I feel about short-term rentals.
Yeah.
That when done responsibly, it's good for the community, good for the neighborhood.
Well, for
You
me,
get a chance to meet people from other parts of the country, perhaps. Recently went on vacation, and that's all we stay in is Airbnbs. We never stay in a hotel. Trips to Hawaii, Italy, Austria, we all stayed in Airbnbs every time. So when done responsibly, it's good. But Tim brings up a good question or statement. He doesn't want to be the police, and I don't blame him. I don't, like, if there was an Airbnb next door to me, I would hate to be the one that had to police it. And I could understand his concerns. But I kind of leaning towards William and Andrea, they're gonna do it right. It's a good property that should be enjoyed by many. And if done responsibly, could be beneficial to the neighborhood, not a detriment.
for me, it's allowed by exception. They've given convincing evidence of compliance, and relative to all of the concerns of the neighbors, almost all of them made reference to incidents that have happened in the past, in some places very far in the past. But the difference between then and now is that there is a mechanism in the city's ordinance for redress. So for me, I'm a fan. I am in favor of this application.
So how do you, Richard, how are you gonna handle number 5B? How are you gonna answer that one?
So I have on this, I don't see a 5B. I see
And
a,
the
I
vote.
B.
see an E2. I see an E2.
Well, it says the applicant can offer convincing evidence that granting the special exception of the property includes the general community benefit, which is going to be what, which rises above the financial gain of the applicant. So I just want you to kind of elaborate on that for
Well,
me.
I can't speak for the applicant, but I would simply say that the difference between, I actually appreciate what he said, the difference between a normal person living in that home and, let's say it was a quiet person, and then you had a series of 12 quiet people that live in the home during the course of the year. I see no difference. I see no negative impact to that. Relative to the financial things, that to me, I don't think that is necessarily in the purview of this board. And I do agree that having people come into the community to experience our community is a good thing.
Well, I oppose this. I think, I don't buy the argument that this is good for the community. I think when you buy a property in a residential neighborhood, there's an expectation that that's a neighborhood for residents. That's why it's zoned that way. And I think there's an expectation that you don't have what amounts to an unregulated hotel opening up in your neighbor's house. I'd also argue that B, it will not increase demand for municipal services. You can't tell me that 8 to 10 people staying in that house isn't going to increase the demand for municipal services, not just water, sewer, but police. Ambulance, exactly. And also, I mean, not the purview of this board, but every Airbnb we allow is, you know, there's people that work in this town that can't find a property, and every Airbnb we allow is another house that they cannot live in.
I always have a problem when they're not owner occupied. I mean, it just shows less care and less, you know, I have a hard time when a property's not owner occupied.
I'm with Eric,
I totally agree with what Eric said.
absolutely.
So anyway.
It's okay. We all have our opinions. Like I say, when I stayed in Airbnbs, you know, the neighbors next door were from New Zealand, Japan. We met some very interesting people. And we always leave the place spotless. There's our responsible renters. And I just believe it's good for the city, good for the neighborhood, and the owners. But it looks like it's gonna be 3-2, which sometimes it happens. So I will seek.
Eric, you want to make a motion?
Sure. Make a motion to deny a special exception, application ZB 2026-004 for finding of facts that I previously stated as to items B and E2.
I
We have
second.
a motion.
I second.
Marcia, any further discussion? Jane, you seem to be the swing vote.
I don't approve.
I can't persuade you.
No, you can't.
All in favor of Eric's proposal to deny, raised and opposed? The motion passes 3-2. Sorry, folks. Come back in 150 days. Actually, they don't have to come back in 150 days, it's by right.
It's gonna be changing. The rule's gonna be changing.
No, it's, the Supreme Court in New Hampshire said it's considered a residential rental, a short-term rental. It's just Laconia's rules that work for Laconia, but not for all, such as Holman Drive. Moving right along, folks. We have 11 Hounsel Avenue, seeking a variance. Thank you all for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there went most of our audience.
How about that?
Hello, ma'am. Take your time. Take your time. How are you tonight?
Good.
How can we help you?
We're Phil and Joanne Dresser, and we own the property on 11 Hounsel Ave. We do not live there. Our daughter and her husband and children live there.
Huh?
And as you can tell, we're getting older. We're not as spry as we used to be. So we want to put in either a small house or a trailer as an in-law addition.
Looking to put in like a double wide modular home where
So we can live on property. We have a wonderful son-in-law who plows our driveway for us right now, so this will make it easier for him, because now he'll only have one driveway. We take our granddaughter from and to school every day, which would make it easier on us, because we'd be on property to leave from there as opposed from our house. And I know you had a thing about property values. We think it'll go up because we'll have an in-law apartment. I heard somebody talk about in-laws apartments earlier too. So we're just basically wanting to put on, like we said, a double wide or a small house or whatever. And we're in the entrance to the industrial park, I guess. So there's only, like, basically, I know you consider further out, but basically there's a house directly across from there and then another house just a little ways down. We have the advantage of having the power lines as our next door neighbor and the exit from the bypass as the other part of our neighbor. Even though you included Gilbert Block, even though they're way down the street. So I don't really see it causing any additional traffic or any problem like that. So it's just basically, we're looking to sponge off our kids who are sponging off of us.
Very good.
also, in addition to this, one of the other primary reasons why we would like to build something over there on our property is the lot is level, it's flat. Our current residence of over 40 years is on the side of a hill, and it's all irregular terrain, and it's extremely difficult and getting rather dangerous for us in the winter with snow and ice, and both having walking disabilities. We desire moving into a newer, another residence that's on all level ground. And this is, going to be our own individual use. We're not going to be renting it out or anything.
And we want a separate residence. That's why we weren't
We
going
don't
for an
wanna-
addition. We don't want to impose on our children and grandchildren. Basically, they'll have their house, we'll have our house. We'll share the swimming pool. And there's a fire pit, but we don't use it.
Very good, folks. Don't go all the way back. Sit right up in front here.
Okay.
I have to open
Yeah, he yelled at me because I sat on the hard bench.
the meeting to the public to see if there's anybody who would like to comment on this.
Got a comment?
Have a seat, Phil, please. Relax. Tyler, let me ask you.
Sure.
The lot, is it, if it was in not the industrial zone, would they be allowed to have a second unit?
For a two-family, no. Well, I mean, it depends on the zone it's in. If it was in, CR or SFR or UC, they could, but they're not near any of those zones. The zone that they're closest to would be the residential single-family, but again, like they had stated, they have, I believe it's one single-family home that's across the lot from them. They abut the power line easement, they abut the byway, they're diagonal to them is another industrial parcel, so it's
Kind of a moot point.
yeah.
So ADUs would not be allowed in that area?
No, an ADU would not be permitted either, because it is in the industrial zone. So if we don't permit residential uses, we're not gonna permit the accessory uses. And with that, they're probably looking at it here, they probably wouldn't meet the ADU requirements, simply because the size difference wouldn't be great enough between the two properties.
Does it matter, they're talking about like a module home, putting it on that property, does that make a difference, because they're asking to put a modular?
It does not.
Does not?
It does not.
We did not close the public hearing.
I think I'm
Oh,
just
I'm
gonna say
sorry.
the same thing.
Oh,
You didn't close the public meeting.
Thank you for reminding me, Richard. We would close that as Phil had a seat, please.
Shut mistake. So we can't interrupt him.
How can we help these folks out? What can we do?
So, yeah, how can, I don't even see with the variance that we can allow 2 houses on this lot, because that's really what we're asking for. I don't see even with the variance how we can allow that.
So what you would have to do is you'd have to permit the density to allow for 2 dwelling units on the property, and then you'd also have to
So if you have enough square footage, does road frontage also go along with that? With that calculation?
No, so at the end of the day, based off of what they have proposed, they would only need to have variances from 3 areas. That would be uses not permitted, because it would be a 2-family use. Be the density of the lot, because the lot size itself does not support 2 dwelling units,
So
based
it's
off the
not
calculation.
two-family. These are 2 separate buildings. That's not a 2-family.
So,
Clarify my definition.
yeah, so for 2-family, the definition for the city, give me 1 second here. 2 dwelling units located on a single lot of record in attached or detached structures exclusively
Attached or
used.
detached. Okay,
Yep.
fair point, okay.
So that's why we would classify it as 2-family.
Okay, got it. So,
The lot seems big enough to accommodate this, and there's not really a neighborhood realistically to conform to or not conform
fair
to.
point.
There's barely a butters in a realistic sense to this property. I have no issue with this.
And I will say, the original house was built in 1960, before this would have been zoned industrial. If I'm not mistaken, it was shortly here, after the house was built, that the state was coming in to put in the bypass, and that's likely, if I had to guess, why they zoned it industrial.
So at some point down the road, this property will be subdivided and turned into 2 separate lots.
Not necessarily. If it's zoned as a 2-use, you could have 2 dwelling units on the same property. It would be no difference than a duplex, other than you're just separating the 2 buildings.
So we just approved it was a variance or a special exception as the first item here. I'm just saying that I look at this and I say, okay, whenever in the future, somebody will take this and subdivide it into 2 lots.
Possibly, it would have to meet whatever the current
Oh, for
zoning
sure.
rules are, and if it doesn't, then they would come back to you guys.
Well, it
to-
comes before the board, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a pre-existing, non-conforming, and they are either gonna say yea or nay. And I guess that's what I'm looking for,
Sure.
boy, I'd like to see, is there a way that we could make an ADU, but I don't think that you could do this particular thing without making a requirement that as such a time that this building is removed. And that would completely make it untenable, in my opinion.
There's certainly enough road frontage and space on the property that if
Yeah.
it's split, you can put a second driveway in. I don't see what.
What's the square
what
footage
issue
of
would
the
be.
property?
Give me 1 second.
Well, actually, we don't need a second driveway, just use the same driveway.
So,
Right,
and there are.
but in the
s-
future, if it was
That Eversource
Divided.
area is
Oh,
technically
yeah,
zoned.
well, they would have a little bit of a problem.
And
because
Scott, there are city services,
There's
water
like
and
a-
sewer.
The road, and then it drops way down.
So square
They
footage?
would have a hard time.
It is
driving.
Oh, I see.
0.9 acres, so not
So
quite an
1
acre. Yeah.
So what would be?
I know you can't really.
Oh, so in this zone, residential buildings aren't
Gotcha.
even allowed.
Correct.
So would this be something that, okay, right across the street, and I don't have a zoning map on me, what is the zone right across the street of?
I believe it's residential, single-family. We do have a zoning map over here, if you
Yeah.
want to take a look, but I can point it out to you.
Yeah, I got it,
Nice.
all right.
When we get
You know
that?
where Gilbert Block is in the ice arena? Where
Yes, I
on
know,
the
I know
street
exactly where it
there,
is.
where
I know,
the corner
I know
is?
exactly where it is,
So
yes.
there's a little white house
So,
on the corner, and then another one
at some
further
point,
down.
It's this little lot right here on the corner between the
Yep.
RR1 and then this residential general across the way.
Yeah.
and what is the square footage requirement for a single home in that,
In which
like a
zone?
single lot in the,
So we don't have,
Which
Yeah,
zone?
Probably don't.
we don't have a minimum square footage requirement for structure, but for the use type. And the residential general, I do believe it is 6 units per acre, which they would meet.
Okay.
And the use would be permitted by right in the RG.
So maybe it would make sense, at some point, if redistricting, popular
Sure.
word today, if redistricting on the different zones, that this was just included as opposed to keeping it there. Okay. Yeah, I'm a favor. I think we're gonna kick this down the road and somebody else will deal with this when they go to subdivide it and sell them as 2 separate lots. That will happen.
Yeah, I'm only concerned about down the road, how it gets
Should
handled.
we change the
Done this.
zoning?
That happened
instead?
when they started here.
So, as far as changing the zoning goes, I think there would be a case to be made for it. I will say that we are starting up our master plan process. So, way we looked at it is, hey, maybe this is something we want to talk about during the master plan process. So,
Yep.
because that likely will lead to rezoning in the city.
Yep.
So,
Again, I'm in fan of this because of their situation. Totally get it. And if this were to be rezoned and put into R1, is that what it is?
RG.
RG1, RG. Then it seems that it answers both of those questions. But we are kicking a problem down the road. So, anyway, I would be in favor.
Could I bring up a point, please?
Go ahead, Mr. Dresser.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we purchased this property, some 25 years ago. And when we purchased the property way back then, it was zoned residential. And while we were occupying that area, the industrial park came in well after our occupancy. And it was changed industrial then, but nothing's changed on our property.
I understand.
Yeah.
And another point, I know you were saying in the future, the reason we're looking at a double wide is it's on wheels. They can move it. So if, it comes down to where they're saying, oh, well, we have to subsidize because there's 2 buildings, you can say, well, move it. Not that the tires would be any good by then, I hope. I hope we get another 25 years on us.
I have no problem.
Yeah, same here.
Let's help these people out.
You looking for me to make a motion?
We are.
You are?
Because you're so good at it.
Yeah, right. Sure. I just want to get the application number correct here. Let's grant application ZB 2026-005 of 11 Hounsel Avenue to allow for a variance from Article 6, Section 235-28, Article 6, Section 235-32, and Article 6, Section 235-35, with regards to granting them the permitted use to put a second home on a very large piece of property, increase the density, and meet new setback requirements, because this is a very interesting situation where we're talking about altering the character of the neighborhood, which is, there is already a home there, so you're not really altering the characteristic of that neighborhood. It just happens to be zoned industrial, but it looks residential to me. So I don't see how we're going to be defeating the first criteria for the variance. And if we're not altering the character of the neighborhood, then we are meeting the spirit of the ordinance, which is number 2. And number 3, justice is done because the owner of the property will now be able to use the property in a manner that will be beneficial to them. Values of the property, I have no idea. Literal enforcement. If we did a literal enforcement of the zoning ordinance, then the property owner would not be able to use the property in a manner that would be beneficial. So we don't want to do that. We want to allow them to use it. It's a reasonable request to put a home on a property that's already got a home. So that's my reasoning.
Thank you for your motion, Marcia. Did we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? I'd rather have seen us change the zoning on the partial, but, it's out there. I hate to say in the boonies, but with the power lines, it makes the property bigger than it really is. So I have to say, I have no issues against it, so all in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Good luck, folks.
Thank you very much.
Now, who said the planning board was, or the zoning board?
But this is the zoning board of adjustment. We're friendlier here. You know how those planning board people are.
That is what we hear from other people. We're the
Actually, the
no-no
people, by
board.
the way, in your office downstairs are very nice.
Thank you for saying
call us
that.
the no-no.
And
I
our
know
colleagues are here tonight to
Thank you, we'll let them
be
know.
witness to that.
Thank you for your input.
Of course, anytime.
It was very enlightening, I'll tell you.
So
Yes.
when we get through the master plan,
Mm-hmm.
we will actually probably do some rezoning, and that area could get rezoned appropriately.
Yep, so in the master plan contract, one of the things that they are gonna be required to do is to create a land use map and update it accordingly.
Okay, folks, moving right along, we have St. Vincent de Paul is asking to put up a sign,
Two
signs.
These are my favorite.
dynamic signs.
Good evening. My name's Ernie Liakis from St. Vincent de Paul. We're asking to put up two signs. 3 by 7. One will be at the north end of the building, one at the south end, and they're both going to be installed on the walls of our building. Saying, I don't know if everybody's familiar with our business, but we're there to give back to the community for the needy and people that really need help, both in food and clothing and et cetera. So we feel that the signs, when we put them up, will depict what we do, the times that we're open, the different types of businesses and when they're open, like the food pantries are open twice a week, the thrift store, which is 3 days a week, and as a nonprofit, we're 100% volunteer, so the money that we get into the businesses will go back out to the people that need these. So we feel that the signs will be able to communicate to the community, if you will, that'll help us get better at what our purpose is. Thank you.
Very good, Ernie.
Do I sit down?
Go ahead, have a seat, sir. I'll open the public hearing in case there's anybody who wants to talk that's hiding back there.
I got rid of them.
Good job, Ernest.
Answer.
No takers, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you for reminding me, Richard. And discussion amongst the board. I like the fact that the sign's not sticking out into the sidewalk, it's on the building.
I'd be concerned that if it obstructed the view of the McDonald's sign next door.
They're not here opposing.
Right.
Yeah,
Only it was distasteful, some
Yeah.
arches to go with it.
Right.
yeah.
I wonder if that sign on the south side will have to be brighter in order to overcompensate. I'm totally in favor of this, it's fine.
Yeah.
Definitely,
So,
definitely a good
any
cause.
further discussion?
No, I like their presentation. I think it's gonna be great.
Let's
Yeah.
get a motion to approve and let Ernest go home. Okay?
I'll
Eric,
give- I'll
you
give
can
it
do
a shot. I'm not.
Wait, Eric was on the tip of his tongue.
I'll do it.
Okay, Eric, let's
He's
go.
making
I'll
the
let you do it. I
signs.
mean, I would have made it.
I am big into the signs.
You're
These are my
big into
favorite.
signs.
That's right.
All right, I make a motion to approve application ZB 2026-006. Findings of, from Article 9, Section 235 of the zoning ordinance to permit 2 3 by 7 electronic signs. Finding of fact as listed in the application.
Very good, we have a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Any further discussion? You always say that first. just in case.
Okay.
All in favor? Good luck, Ernest.
Thank you.
Great signs,
Have a good night.
very nice.
Please visit.
Any further business?
Good finds
I know
there.
of.
Once again, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Differences of opinions are what make us
Special,
special.
yeah.
Thank you for being here.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. I second.
Thank you, folks.
Okay.
Just didn't like the Airbnb. I mean, that neighborhood for the Airbnb is like our neighborhood. Would you want Jason
off?
to put his house as an Airbnb?